You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 107 for October 2023. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, I see you're messing with your camera. Not that
Yeah,
anyone can see
stuff
it.
doesn't want to work today, apparently.
Oh, that autofocus stuff on
It's
these
not
webcams
focusing
is,
on
is
me.
the
Look,
worst.
everything looks blurry. Oh, no, it's focusing.
It's always better to have something with real optics, you know.
Sure.
Um,
Also more
I,
expensive.
yeah, sure, right. Um, I have a friend of mine that I see and one of the people I trade gifts with, and I'm just trying to not go as gift crazy as I have historically done in the past, where I get them like really good gifts, but they're kind of more on the pricier, expensive side. And I have one of the Elgato cameras, and now they have more than one option, right? So I wouldn't get him the latest greatest, and so maybe the price came down on the face cam, which is a pretty good camera, actually, probably the best webcam I've had. um it mostly consistently works, um but I don't normally have a focus problem, right? But
Well, these are
also,
Logitech ones, so.
right, I also stuck it on one of these like cheap mic arms, and
I have another one up here.
yeah, and so I just sort of pull that mic arm, and I position it, right? So I move the camera. I don't have to worry about it having a focus problem, because if it seems something's out of focus, I just move closer to me to position where I want it to be. So
So how goes it?
it goes. We got through September somehow. We're into October and Halloween's at the end of it, and my next couple Saturdays are club related stuff. I'm gonna go to a thing called Code Camp. It's like a local developers group. They have done this for many years, and I haven't been to one in a while, and I don't have any specific thing to go to see that, like I'm going there because I'm learning this, or I'm going there because we finally convinced work to let the development group go, and I'm there in support, right? Which kind of like how it was the last time. But I won't be there at the top of the morning. I'll be there late because I have an overlapping thing going on. So I don't know. My Saturdays just seem to disappear. They're all seem to be booked up, and that's how my life goes. And then I get to Sunday, and it
And then
gets
there's this
semi.
crazy person from the Netherlands who wants to talk to you on
Oh, that's only once a month.
just once a month.
Then I'm making the probably the unwise choice of getting my vaccine, cocktail shots all after this for the flu and the latest whatever COVID thing is. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have probably an unpleasant beginning of this week.
Beginning of the month.
And month too, yeah,
Yeah.
great, yeah, great. So that's how my life is lately, and there's never any time to have time off. But then when you have it, you want to do two things: spend money on projects, or you're bored. So
Been spending too much money on projects.
yeah, that's what I've been trying not to do. You know, that's just
Yeah.
the way it is. I switched jobs. I have much higher set of bills, and I am. My father called, which is a weird thing, and he's like, "Oh, how's it going?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's the same." And I don't know what he's expecting to look for. Like, what amazing thing is he expecting for? Yeah, okay, I do lots of stuff. You don't understand any of it. You're not interested, and that's fine. That's the way our relationship works for these topics. And um, my point, going off on the tangent, was I was like, it's just money in, money out. I'm just working, and money comes in and immediately goes out. And then I'm good for the part of the month. Then money comes in and money goes out. Like, that's it. That's what my life is until the money stuff increases with hope. And that's it. Like, that's my conversation. That's where I am at in life. Other than that, it's just whatever I do to sort of take interest in things, from
Okay.
entertainment perspective. So Nothing exciting for me, man. Not at least not this month.
Maybe it's
So
good that it's not exciting.
yeah, I had an idea of an AV I wanted to start, and then when I got the inkling to do it, um,
You think
uh,
about all the anime you have to watch for the next seasonal reviews.
no, I years ago I had there was a show that I really liked, and I I bought um a DVD ripper software, and I still had, I had a Blu-ray device that I could use, and I ripped the material I needed for that whole series. And so I have that, and I still have those files. I never deleted them. I just sort of carried them from one computer to another. So I started an idea with it that I really didn't like, and then I sort of never finished that project. But I still have the original material. So I was like, oh, I heard a song that's a good idea for this that I might be able to start working on. And then I started thinking about, oh, this is one of those things where some parts of it are easy and a lot of it is not. And for me to bring a cohesive project together, I'm gonna Alan's gonna have to invent a lot of stuff like I always have done. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm ready for that kind of. I don't feel that
Another
motivated.
big project to work on.
Right. Exactly. But it's still live in my head of something that. Well, what are you gonna do? Play more Minecraft? Right. And so that's what it becomes. So that's kind of how I am with my projects as of late, where I have ideas and I have things I want to go do, and it's like spend money or spend lots of time being unhappy and unpleasant building something till you have something built. So,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. But I have such a short window for free time, so it's that or go Minecraft.
I just don't do the social stuff. It works very nice. Not
Yeah,
a lot of stuff you
I
have to
I
do.
will I will say because of the club, it's forcing me to go do things. Um, that I normally hermit mode would just take over and I just wouldn't do things at all. Right? I just stay in the comfortable routine. I tried to play Comfy Burrito on Saturday yesterday, and after 2 hours of it, I was like, all right, I get up and do stuff.
I'm wasting time.
No, it wasn't even that. I had I had an OBS that I bought when it was like on sale.
What
This
is
is one
that?
of the it's basically a pretty good camera that you can connect up like a web camera that has PTZ on it, pan, tilt, and zoom. And it was one of the first that had a little sensor and little extra camera on it that was meant for you could do a gesture and it would follow you around and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I thought, all right, maybe at the time when my bandwidth for wealth was a little bit more available to me, I bought the thing and then I never put it to use. Never put it to use. It just sat there in its case in, you know, didn't take it out of plastic or anything. It just sat there. And so I have a friend of mine. She streams and she does this cooking thing on Mondays. And I was like, "Hey, do you want my ob spot?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll take that." And her now, I guess fiance, they're gonna get married. So I was like, "All right, well, here's an early wedding present." It's literally like new because I never used it. So I shipped that off. So that was it. A reason to get up and do something yesterday was to box that thing up and
Yeah.
go over to the post office. So, but that's it. I didn't. I'm in this weird spot where I didn't have any responsibility to the world, and not doing much of anything lately. Which
You
is,
want to you want to be comfy burrito mode.
yeah. I mean, who doesn't, right? Until you get hungry or something else, like curl
Yeah.
up and stay in your cocoon and be comfy. You
Yeah,
know.
I should really take some of my days. I still have a bunch of them left, and I really need to take some days off. But the problem is, whenever I take my days off, I use them to do stuff or go help somebody or do something else. Like it's
Right.
always
Yeah.
always related to something I have to do. So I
I,
don't really take days where I play potato.
right. Exactly. And I will say that when, except for a thing like Otakon and someone's wedding up in November, outside of that, my PTO time has always been like, I gotta go see the doctor. Oh, the doctor's gonna make me go to do lab work. Oh, I'm gonna have to go sit in a room for 45 minutes and then another 50. It's just like it eats up my day, right?
Yeah.
It eats up the portion of my day that basically ruins my day from doing anything fun or interesting, or becomes the day of errands. That's a day off from work. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I mean that's what adult life becomes, right? Unless you're super wealthy and you don't have to, you make money without actually doing anything in the world. You own stuff and the stuff makes money on its own. Outside of that, the 1% of the world that has that life, I am not.
Or just overvaluate your house.
I know I'm not that person. God, I see those things from mortgage companies like, "Hey, ready to cash out?" And I'm like, "Go away."
For those who don't realize, that was a reference to the recent lawsuits
Yeah.
surrounding a certain former president.
Oh yeah. Look, yeah. All right, let's not go on that tangent.
It's
I
just
don't
so
have
fucking
positive
silly.
things to say. The last thing we need is on the record. So, um, yeah. Anyhow, so yeah, September was just busy, but that's it. It was just busy. I made some good things in there. Don't get me wrong. Don't hear the. I will say that I have been looking at ESP 32 stuff, and I'm gaining more and more interest to. But again, it's not a lot of money, but it's a money rabbit hole again, and I'm trying to avoid that right now.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'd be buying S3 boxes and you know connecting up stuff and slowly moving away from existing home like voice assistant things like the Amazon stuff works. The Google stuff doesn't have any integrations,
Mm.
and Amazon has all the integrations. Um, but they also sometimes have some sort of like partner integrations. What I mean by that is Govi. Govi does not API request has no limit. So if I, as a external developer, go get an API registration key from them, I have a limit of 10,000 a month of API requests. And so polling and turning on lights and turning off lights, all that stuff is goes through the API and has a high polling request, um, and Home Assistant sort of gets broken at a certain point in the month because it's maxed out on the API requests.
Mm.
But through the Amazon integrations, always works.
There,
So the problem is I hate Amazon devices with displays. Well, they're useful, they're terrible at the same time because they're always advertising crap at me. And I'm just like, I just want you to be an alarm clock. I I don't stop advertising stuff at me. I paid for that. Make that make that stop. And so my tangent is, at some point I'm gonna get super pissed off, and I'm gonna buy a bunch of ESP32 displays and stuff, and I'm gonna solder some shit together. I'm gonna make myself a freaking alarm clock, and I'm gonna build a back end platform that everyone can connect in that will be home assistant integrated, and then that's it. I'll take the OG money, and I'll put it in hosting a thing for everyone can freely integrate and get their stupid alarm clock and timers off a thing they can solder together
do you
in
even
20
own a
minutes.
soldering thing?
I
No,
trashed
you
it
don't.
years ago, so no. But I know me. I'm gonna buy that like USB powered
Mm-hmm.
iron. I'm gonna do it. I
Mm-hmm.
always I hated the toxic stuff that would come off the solder back then. Now I know
Yeah.
it's far improved, but it used to be bad. It just
Well, now
fumes would
there's
come off.
no there's no lead in it anymore. Well, you can
Right,
still get leaded solder because
right,
it works so much better than normal without solder, without
yeah,
the lead. But I don't know, it flows better for some reason. Yeah.
right, yeah. So I mean, it's been far improved, but I used to solder when I was like 10, 12 years old. So
Yep. Well, the problem with like these USB C soldering irons is that they can be. Um, so I would get something like a Pine or something like that because it's
okay,
open source and it's more reliable than the Chinesium ones, which come like with like 5 extra tips or whatever. It's great.
right.
You can buy those tips for the Pine separately,
Mm-hmm.
and the Pine are much better. I have a TS 100 that
Okay.
I use, which is very nice. I love it. It just isn't powered by USB C, but I think the Pine is. So
So I mean, I have a garage that I can turn into a workshop, but to do that, I need to spend money. So there's my conundrum. So until I'm out of that loop problem, I won't be doing that anytime soon. But it's sort of formulating in my brain, right? I thought about there's these Mach 5 stack devices are pretty neat. I'm sure they're coming right out of China. They're a little, they're not super expensive, but they're like these little core units that have screens and stuff on them, and they have tilt sensors and stuff in them. So I thought about it, and I was like, maybe I could glue a bunch of magnets to this thing and attach it to my garage, and then I can, put like an extended powered by USB, put a battery on it, whatever it is, and then I can attach them to my garage, and so I can know for a fact when it's up and down,
mm,
and have a home assistant integration on that. I mean, now I can go to the cameras on my car from my phone, and I can look to see that the garage is truly closed. I don't have any doubts, and I do have one of those Nest cameras I intend to put in the garage. Um, but I mean, outside of that, like that was the first useful idea I had in my mind. I was looking at the Shelly devices, and they are ESP32, I think C based, but you can wire them into. They're basically power relays, so you can wire them into your switch stuff, and then you could control your lights and stuff like that. And they're tiny. But I'm not that adventurous just yet. You know, I'll get Hue bulbs first, right? I'll do something a little more self-contained and reliable,
we've
and it
replaced
has
all the
no
lights.
API. Huh?
We replaced all the lights at the office with U like switches, and we had this click on, click off system at the office,
Yeah.
but we only had 4 channels, so you could turn off one light, and then we have the entire floor now. So we needed something to control the lights because they used to be controlled by just motion sensors. So you walk in the room, lights turn on, and if you sit down for too long, the lights turn off, which is super annoying because as soon as you move a little bit more, lights turn back on,
Got it.
and it was
So
super annoying.
I would say I I never got into the hue switches. I was just all about the bulbs. Um, Paul gave me a light strip, and I think I still have the light strip. I have the module. I should have tacked it underneath my table because I turned those lights on. I mean, I'll look down. It was neat. It was nice. Gave some lighting. I bought these Govee lights. I bought 25 foot, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with them. I wanted to stick them underneath the cabinet overhang in my kitchen, and I was gonna wire it up or something to like when I got Amazon packages or something to sort of have it pulse until I cleared out the thing. So I thought about doing that, and the problem is like the price difference between that and like they don't like they start at 15 feet or something, right? They're never not small. And the price difference between that and 25 foot was like a few bucks. So I was like, all right, I'll buy a 25 foot one, thinking I was going to do more with it, and I never did. So I got on a ladder and I sort of not.
When I got on a ladder, this is usually how a story about how you
Well,
injured
my
yourself
ceilings are
starts.
9 feet tall, right? And my ladder's not tall enough. My ladder's only like 4.5 feet high, something like that. Um, so maybe yeah, it's like 4.5 feet high. So of course I'm sort of higher up on the higher step to be able to do anything. So anyhow, I took that Govee and I basically should have looped it up on top of my kitchen cabinets, and so when I turn on the lights in the kitchen, I have some illumination of the ceiling from that perspective. So it's actually pretty nice to kind of put lighting in places you wouldn't normally think to do it, reduce the dark spots in your room. So, but anyhow, my tangent was I never got into the switches. Um, so my thought would be if you guys really want to geek out on doing something like that, I would say get a bunch of Shelly power relays and buy a home assistant, buy a green, get a Sky Connect, $130.
Is
Um,
is the are they what's the name? Is that Matter or is it
um,
Zigbee?
Shelly will run on Wi-Fi, and no, it doesn't run on Zigbee or Matter. It integrates directly with Home Assistant. It also handles all the other things. So the board probably handles all the other formats. Probably handles Matter and probably MQTTTTT or whatever it is,
Hmm.
which is basically doesn't require cloud. You can, if you know how to interface the protocol, you can call it directly over the network.
Okay.
But I mean, then what you guys can do is you can set up your automations. So if you buy some motion sensors, you could give it sort of, if there's no movement in 2 hours or something, turn the lights off.
Yeah.
And Home Assistant has all that automation routines and stuff that's pretty advanced. And if you really cared, you can get into some ESP32 soldering projects and set up ESP home stuff and automated that way too.
I'm not really into the home automation anymore. I used to be, but it's
I'm
just a
more
tool now, and I'm like I really wanted to like build sensors and do like all sorts of other stuff
right.
and
I'm
integrate
more
it.
in
But
the getting control of or getting access to the telemetry and things,
yeah,
and having them around. Right.
yeah, but even then, it's like, what are you gonna do with all the data? You're gonna be running stuff in your basement or in your hallway closet, and then you're collecting that information. And what are you gonna do with it? Nothing.
Actually, I look at it every once in a while. So one of the if I'm not home, I like to kind of know what the average of temperatures are up here compared to downstairs. So like it gives me an idea of how I want to better manage temperature in the
Mm,
house, right? As a person who like looks at data all the time, looking at a trend and seeing what its averages are and what the median is, you have questions. You don't really know the truth about something, but if you record the data, at the very least, you can kind of approximate better. And so you ask, well, what are you going to do with all that? It's like, that's what I do with it. I look at it and go, oh, okay. So I've only been here for, I'm literally, next month, I will have been here for a year.
mm,
And in 2024, will be slightly more informed by 2023's telemetry, which is not a full year's worth of data. But as I go through the years, I will have a little bit more averaging on data, and I will know that my impulse is to turn the AC on. And I'm like, don't turn the AC on. And I don't have data to inform a reason not to. I go by my impulse, right? We all do that. So um, it's also very interesting for me to see how the car is behaving from its telemetry. So that helps. And they're like, oh, what are you going to do with that? I was like, I don't know what you would do with it. I just know when it's done charging. And I know that it continuously charges at this rate pretty steadily, and I don't see any influx to power problems. And oh, by the way, I see how much power I'm using on an average 15-mile round trip. And that gives me a clear understanding of where the battery efficiency is and the power draw, basically on a routine drive that I've been taking, over X amount of days, per year. And it shows me that the battery health is in good shape because it's fairly consistent. It's up and down consistently. Like this kind of stuff, being able to go back and look at it out of curiosity gives me insight. That's the way my brain works. So this stuff, fantastic. Also, I'd rather have me snooping on me than someone else snooping on me for profit.
Does the Tesla support vehicle to grid?
They're going to be doing it. They originally stopped doing it in the early Roadsters, primarily because it's a tax. It's real taxing on the battery system. So everyone's like, oh, we're going to do vehicle to grid. And I was like, yeah, you're going to destroy your battery. But when I need it, great. You're going to be destroying your battery. So if you don't build a really good BMS and, have a system that actually regulates heat and takes care of distribution problems and overloads, unless you have a really good, solid BMS, you're going to destroy your battery. Ford and Hyundai and everything. It's like, and that's why Tesla got out of it pretty early on. That being said, they have a fantastic BMS. But I think they're going to up it to be able to kind of handle that variant scenario. You have to kind of regulate it. You can't just like take 50 kilowatts out of the system. You just can't do that. You're just going to be, one, destroying it, two, basically creating heating problems for the battery. So unless you have a really fantastic regulation system on temperature, you're gonna be destroying the most expensive part of your car. So they'll do it. There just wasn't. It's one of the many things that was not priority of interest. So I think they'll. I don't know if they're going to have it in the Cybertruck, if they've already solved this already. I don't know.
If it ever arrives.
No, I think employees are getting it end of this year. Some of them, like first 50 probably. And most of them are going to be coming out probably next year. So, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
The new expansion came out, and I've been playing around. I haven't actually started the new, DLC, but it's so far testing out the new skill trees and whatever, reconstructing whatever I had, which was a mess. So far it's been very much improved. The driving in the cars and motorcycles is no longer feels like you're on ice all the time, so that's very good. It is much more stable than Starfield, which is also good. And Starfield is still bad, by the way. It's not great. I tried to play a little bit more of it. It's just
don't say that too loud.
It still feels like it is a 2012 game.
Got it.
It's like
I was just gonna say, don't scream that from the rooftops because you'll have a lynch of the hype coming after you.
Why?
It's just everyone's so positive on the game.
No, nobody is positive. Well, not a lot of people are positive about the game. There's some people who are really into this game specifically that are very positive about it, but there's lots of people who see the big problems with this game.
Yeah. Okay.
I tried to play it. It's not for me. I also didn't like Fallout, so I'm not a Fallout person. So there's a lot of similarities between this game and Fallout. It's basically the same engine. You're Fallout in space. I made the joke that that Fallout. It seems like it is a continuation of Fallout, like it's a sequel to Fallout or something. Like they
Right.
eventually went out into space after nuking themselves. So that's why
You've mentioned
Earth
this, and
is
that's in my brain, the
what?
correlation that it's similar to Fallout. And I don't know if maybe Paul or somebody else around me has also said the same thing.
Well, it is the same
Um,
engine.
right. But I'm not familiar with either game, so to me
Mm.
it's an opinion that's being thrown out there that I have no way of correlating that in my brain.
Yeah, I
So,
got the game. I think I have Fallout 4. I got it on a console, so I didn't play very well, and it wasn't very nice. I gave up because it's not for me. First of all,
mm.
the whole post-apocalyptical scenario sucks for me. And the same way I don't like
Yeah, I
zombie
don't
shows.
I don't exactly right. I don't like those kind of I don't like that kind of entertainment in any form, including games and movies and TV shows. I'm not
I
into it.
That's why it's like Mass Effect was really. I liked Mass Effect apart from the ending, but nobody liked the ending.
Right. It's like my comment about isekais to you that was sort of off recording scope, which is why does everything have to be the same thing? And
Yep.
why does everything have to be a zombie? I mean, I'm just waiting for somebody to do the zombie werewolf vampire show. And I don't
Wait,
mean
didn't
like
they already do that?
where they're all already they're not only a zombie, they're a werewolf and a vampire, right? Like I'm
Mm.
waiting for
And
somebody,
they're
but
sparkly.
yeah, right, okay. My point is that like it wasn't good premise to start out with, and this is what you get exposed to as a kid because someone in school wants to be the wants to be the popular person, so they say, "Oh, that new show is really popular. Oh, that new show, I love it. I love that show." And then everyone adopts the same opinion, and then you go through high school liking crappy shows because one person knowingly promotes a crappy show
You sound
because
bitter.
it's just like it's the same thing, right? It's like how is it that this is what's what's positive about this? What's good about this? It's you know what? I'll tell you what I'm grumpy about. Setting every piece of food on fire with just making it coupling it with something spicy. Oh, I gotta have my popcorn super spicy. Oh, I gotta have spicy soup that has habanero and ghost peppers in it. And I'm like, I don't, I don't get this. Snack
Is
food
this a new
industry, what are
thing?
you doing? Huh?
Is this a new thing?
No, not lately.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Takis that flaming hot everything.
Well, the flaming hot stuff might be because everybody has lost their taste after a certain,
Right,
virus
and
came
I still
through.
have my taste because I didn't singe it off with too much pepper.
Well,
So
either that or people who are smoking. So,
yeah, it's probably that too. So anyhow, you could here's your title this week. Alan's a grump.
I think the title is going to be Comfy Burrito Mode.
Oh yeah, I look I like comfy burrito. I like
A
being a
grumpy,
comfy
grumpy burrito.
a grumpy burrito. There you go. There's the title. I got to get up. I'm grumpy now. You can't be no comfy burrito for you.
Comfy, grumpy burrito.
There you go.
Okay, so anyway, Cyberpunk so far it's been really good. I love the
Mm.
new look of the game. They really did something with the graphics, and with 3060, it is pretty good.
Yeah.
Of course, if I had a 40 series card, I could have turned on all the other stuff. But fine. Anyway, I have a question for you
Yeah.
because at the end of the month it's going to be Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this episode is going to come out way before there, hopefully. But there is going to be a Halloween party
At your office?
at the office, yeah. So
Okay.
we're organizing something small. Now, have you ever organized something like this?
Um, no. I we
What would
never
you
did that at, like kind of when you're in and even obviously pre-COVID, when everyone was sort of required to be in the office, that was like the 150% expectation, right? Rain, shine, hurricanes, floods. Yeah, you got to be in the office, right? So there was at least, I wouldn't say a community, but there were people that were in the same place and were had this sort of corporate mandated fun pushed upon them. And during Halloween times, we wouldn't have a Halloween office party, but we would have data okay to bring your kids and bring in candy for kids to walk around and trick or treat in the office, or some combination of it was okay for you to dress up and not cosplay,
yeah.
but like dress up, in something Halloween esque, right? There was no one, very few, very few people would be like cosplaying of any
Yeah.
degree, right?
So
Like they would
maybe
just,
something where like the hmm interesting interesting ideas.
right? Yeah. So you
I'm getting
could,
ideas for this already. So
all right. So if you're trying to organize something, then yeah, maybe you could say, all right, now, uh, including your bosses, right? So keep that in mind. I the last place is that even the people at the top dressed up. But also they were promoted to be and eventually got to the top. So they used to be at the very bottom. So they're bringing this solid enthusiasm of fun from when they used to be at the low bottom part
well,
of the
the thing is,
totem pole, and now they're at the top. They're still bringing this up to the top. So sometimes, if you want to do that, it really benefits from everyone participating, right? Including your bosses, right?
so uh, last time I organized something, the only one that came dressed up was the boss. So
Right.
kind
Okay.
of makes
So
sense. He'll
yeah,
be
but the
into it.
question is, do you have like, is there like a consistent theme that you can promote? Like, are they all some degree of anime fans? Are they all
No, no,
like,
no. It's more like everybody has their own little thing. So
all
we'll
right? So I mean, you just make it sort of generic Halloween, just dress up. That's
yep.
one aspect of it. Um,
I have a lightsaber coming in this week,
okay.
and
Um,
I'll make some robes or something.
right. But I mean, I worked at a place where the they it was sort of a family owned place. And that just meant that when we got to certain parts of the year where they did, every company's got some version of this where insert company name cares is this thing where they do, and they go help, they go help a charity, or they go do a
Yeah,
thing.
the business I work for is not big enough to do kind of that kind of stuff.
Right. Um,
So we can't have
and
a charity auction
out
or something.
here, they always had United Way, and United Way was basically a UNICEF but more localized.
Hmm.
Um, and so, since I've always sort of lived in this area, it doesn't matter where I lived in one county or this county or the one that or worked in the next one over. They all seem to have, wherever I've worked over nearly 30 years, they all some have their version of United Way in that county, and company name cares program, and where they fundraise and they want to take some money out of your paycheck or ask for a one-time donation. And so one place that I worked at for years had participated with United Way for, I don't know, probably out of their 45 years or something as a company, they had been participating, um, 35 of it or something like that. And they always did this cheesy skits. And if you were in leadership, or if you had part of the family name and you were higher up, you had to dress up and participate in these skits and do embarrassing things. And literally, the first year I was there, my boss basically, he was. Uh, here's the comment I had in my head. when I saw them participating in this, and again, it was sort of semi-mandatory. Everyone had to come over to building whatever, where they had set up a stage and they were doing all these skits and all these things to kind of help promote the United Way stuff. And they put themselves on the line to be embarrassed and do cheesy, fun things. And they made it a whole company week thing, right? So they really went all out. So my point of comment was, I didn't expect in that first couple months to know that my boss has pretty good legs in a dress. So this is what they would do during Halloween time. But they also, again, they had sort of a campus of offices, and they had people, they had probably at peak 15,000 employees. So they had a culture where people literally brought in, I'd say buckets, but little things at their desk or something, or in their area where someone brought in candy, and the little kids of families would come around during a certain window on certain days with trick or treat and stuff like that. So I've seen your office based on the video. It's not that large, so trick or treating is a pretty boring experience if anyone brought in a kid.
Yeah, we're probably going to do a pumpkin carving contest or something. Let's see which one is best.
Yeah. So anyhow, if you're the one doing that, then yeah.
I'm not the only one doing it, and we might invite some people from the other office as well. So there's a chance people might show up. We don't know.
Or you could just take over one of the conference rooms and put, I don't know, tons of candy or something. Does anyone bake? Anyone like to bake?
Me.
Okay. So
I'm probably going to make apple pie or something.
Okay. Not a pumpkin pie?
No.
Okay. Not everything spiced, pumpkin spiced?
Not everything needs to be pumpkin. Especially since pumpkins are not really a thing here. You can buy them, but it's like not much.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy some one time a year pumpkin pie. Totally about it. I'm totally about the turkey in general all the time. But outside of that, the one time a year, I'm happy to have these foods. But I am not a pumpkin spiced everything person. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about how it went next time, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Do you want to go through the fun stuff? Links?
Yeah, I guess so. We can do that, since this is all grumpy burrito tangents.
Well, you need to go in in a bit, right?
In a little bit. Yeah, I got some time. I guess it really starts off with your list.
Yeah. So I've got infected mushroom, Sazum Behad. I don't know what that means. Polymatic link /1C0. There is lights beside myself. Polymatic link /1C1. That's all music. Eric Pierce, Juniper Vale, Winter Came Too Fast. Really like that one. That's Polymatic link /1C2. And then a video about when serial experiments lane aired after 9/11. So I think on 9/11 it aired. So it was like a TV channel in the Bay Area.
Right, and Lane I think is a little older than that, because
but they had the rights to was a
show
PBS
it, right.
channel. So
right, yeah.
Polymatic link /1C3 was interesting. Then how Tokyo almost built a floating city. Polymatic link /1C4, and I've shared this channel before, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it's a long video. It's good.
And then another sort of long video: why games are too big, related to my earlier statements. Polymatic link /1C5 with a little popsicle stick figure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this one I know it's really for Steve, I guess.
Too long.
90 minutes is pretty good. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I also live this history, so yeah, interesting. So TypeScript, if you've heard of this, if you're into programming, someone made a documentary. It does actually have like the Microsoft people that were involved. So this company doesn't, whoever this channel doesn't work for Microsoft, but they definitely got the inside track to the right people. Polymatic.link/1C6. It's 90 minutes long. I enjoyed it. And it was one of those weird things where the documentary spoke to me because I was like, wait, I was there. I knew all this stuff, right? Didn't work for Microsoft, but I was on the other side of this. I was in that, part of this community where we were all making decisions on this stuff. So this one's a Vox video. It doesn't really just focus on solar and parking lots. It talks about it in general, usage of land and renewable technologies and how we get smarter about it. But there's a video on this. I just called it Solar Farms with Parking Lots, just to sort of summarize
Yeah.
some areas of interest.
Over here, that you see that a lot more. You see a lot more like parking lots with like solar panels above it,
Right.
and like even at the office for the other part of the company, they have like parking lot with like solar panels on top of it and on top of the building.
Right. Yeah, I think the only reason for slowdown on smart stuff happening around here is because it has a lot to do with local politics and federal politics, and not that at a federal level stuff is being prevented. It's that it's more of this. This is more a reference to like real estate, but NIMBY stuff, not in my backyard behavior. And the reason for it not to happen is not for good reason. That day, however you want, come up with whatever conspiracy. It's never for a good reason. The why is never a good reason. So that stuff kind of happens here, and it happens in tiny little pockets, localized to certain counties and certain ambitions from towns and boroughs and whatever it is. It doesn't happen on a more regular global level, or it happens in places where no one else can meddle with your ability to make those choices. That being said, if you go, Pennsylvania is a reasonably large state, and it has a lot of agriculture and factories, and a lot of, produced products come out of this state alone. And I follow somebody who does solar stuff, and he will show up and do a video on top of a roof of God knows where factory that's big that has solar panels, right? They have solar panels. They've had solar panels for years, right? So the government or the local whatever has no say in what they do, and they thought smart about it, and so they put solar on it. So like it does happen here, it just doesn't happen on a regular basis. So anyhow, a video about the topic in general, polymatic.link/1C7. Okay, and then going down, this guy I follow on TikTok. He initially was going by the name Screaming Donkey. He just now has abbreviated that to The Donkey. His TikTok videos as of late is a little bit more like any of these other shows with people who make stuff. But this guy's kind of generally interesting, and his early sort of my watching his stuff on TikTok was he would read or he would describe the interactions he had with a bunch of people calling in or emailing him or communicating with him for being basically jerks, right? And it was very entertaining the way he would do it. And he doesn't call himself like an expert, but he makes really interesting tables, and then he's had interesting stories of why he was making the pickle table, for example. And how he came with the Cthulhu table. So this is a YouTube version of him just talking about him working on the Cthulhu table. And like any trend for me, there's resin here. So it's interesting. That's why I watch all that, people who do stuff with resin. So it's interesting. So polymatic.link/1C8. I generally would, if you want to follow this guy on TikTok, great. He's not putting a lot of stuff on YouTube, but still interesting guy if you're interested in the stories and why he's building these tables, and yeah. Anyhow, outside of that, this is Hello World. I guess is back. They did have a more extended piece, but they started with the clips. This one is just the one where the people are 3D company is 3D printing sugar, like confectionaries, pretty effectively. Polymatic.link/1C9. And then for me, in terms of music, most of it has been me discovering some more artists that I've not deep dive on yet. And I've been really enjoying what Fizz has been doing, but I don't want to keep talking about the same artists again and again. But Jacob Collier came out with a song called Well that I like, and so he had a music video for it, and that is polymatic.link/1CA. So there you go. That's all my stuff.
All the links.
All the links.
Yeah. I have to say the music that one did not click at all.
Fizz. Yeah.
This one, Jacob Collier.
Yeah, he's interesting. He's not even that old, and he has won multiple Grammys. I think
I said it didn't click.
Oh, what do you mean?
I didn't like it.
Oh, you didn't like it at all. I thought you were talking about Fizz, because I know Fizz didn't click for you either.
No, well.
But who was it? Oh, Lizzie. Lizzie clicked for you, so you like Lizzie. That she has the song Ceilings.
I don't remember.
Yeah, well, you comment on it. So, I never know what clicks for you. No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I think the thing that came up in my mind was more of like it sounded to me like a boy band, like in the beginning of the 2000s.
He's so not that. I can't really explain his.
No, but that was the sound to me. Right.
He's very experimental. And again, he is, I would say, sort of like a musical prodigy. And as a result, he's earned it. He has won multiple Grammys at this point. And I think, as I was just about to say, I think he is the youngest Grammy winner ever. I believe, possibly. I think that's a note, and that wasn't anyone's ever goal. Regardless, he still does his thing. And now that he's won a couple Grammys, he has way more freedom to do his thing. But he did do a video talking about showing you his project files with that song. So it's very interesting. He's very interesting in general. And I guess my degrees of separation from him is maybe 3 degrees. 2 degrees, maybe. Because I know somebody who knows somebody who knows him.
Okay.
So that's a weird piece of trivia that only means nothing to me or anybody but me. And even then, it means not a lot to me. But he's an interesting guy. I don't really listen to all his music, but every once in a while, he's got a song that, takes hold of interest.
Okay. So. Alan, where can they find you?
On Blue Sky right now.
Oh, okay. We'll have to update the link then. Polymatic.link/Alan for him. You can find me still on Twitter, Polymatic.link/John. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. Our Twitter is the Polymatic for now, until something has changed. Our website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time.